What's going on, everybody? Coach Fig here for another segment of Fig's Pro Tips. Uh, super special guest today. Uh, Seven-time champion, Irish champion, Big Joe Eagan. He's in the house right now. I'm gonna bring him in. I'm gonna bring Big Joe in right now. We can get this party started.
Hello, Roberto.
Hey, how's it going, brother? How you feeling?
Really good, feeling good. Thank you. Glad to say.
That's good, man.
How are you doing, pal?
I'm great, man. I have zero complaints, man. Life is good. God is great.
Well, there's no point in complaining because nobody listens.
That's right. That's right. 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 Even if you did, right? Who's gonna listen, right?
That's right. That's right. No, I'm in a good place. All things considering, with what's going on the planet at the moment,
Yes,
my
sir.
health
Yes,
is
sir.
good. You know, God rest the people that have died as a result of this COVID, and please God, no more die.
That's
You
right.
know, it's a sad time for the planet.
Yes, sir.
Sad time. It's a sad time for the human race. So hopefully, this illness is beaten soon.
Yeah. Hopefully this is over sooner than late. You know, it came out of nowhere. It's taking its toll on everybody. I think I lost you, Joe. Let me see if I can get you back in here.
I lost you there for a second, pal.
Oh, yep, yep.
We're back. Yeah, you're saying it came out of nowhere, and hopefully it'll be gone soon.
Yeah, it'll be over sooner than later, man. I mean, this is something that's affected everybody in one way or another, and it's tough times don't last, but tough people do, and we've proven that over and over again, just as humanity itself. So I look forward to everybody being well and getting back to where we were, and
But
actually
the
not
thing
where we
is,
were, but better.
hopefully some good comes out of it. It brings people closer together.
Yeah,
You know, we're all God's children at the end of the day, and
that's
we
right.
should be united. And sometimes it takes something like this pandemic to bring us all closer together.
Yeah, it's something that people don't it's like they say, you don't appreciate something until it's not there no more. And the simple things, the simplicity of just being able to go outside and purchase something, or just for athletes, the gyms is something that some athletes may not be as dedicated and showing up as others are. And now that with everything that's going on, they're wishing that they would have been at the gym. So it's things like that, and more appreciation for the everyday heroes like doctors and nurses and people of that nature.
You know, doctors and nurses, firemen, policemen, people that serve the community have
Yes,
been
sir.
so underappreciated.
Yes,
And
sir.
now we realize how important they are to us.
Oh yeah, they're the everyday heroes. They're on the front line every day. Outside of this pandemic, they're on the front lines with everything. People dealing with different injuries and just different life experiences. So it's definitely great to see that everyone is starting to understand and appreciate them more.
But that's it. Every day these people go out and serve us, you know, and life is such a wonderful thing, and you know, we have to live it to the best we can. Every day is a gift from God. That's why it's called the present.
That's
You
right.
know, and these people keep us safe. The police service keep us safe. The doctors and nurses help us to try and stay healthy. So yeah, thank God we've got them.
That's right.
And now people are starting to appreciate them. But life, I'm glad to say, Roberto, is good. You
That's
know,
good.
my boxing career is over. You know, I won 7 Irish titles, which to win 1 Irish title was a
It's
major
such a big
achievement.
thing.
Yeah, well, it's like my every fighter that climbs into the ring dreams about becoming a champion of the world.
Yes,
I
sir.
wasn't good enough to become a champion of the world. I fought lots of world champions and I sparred lots of world champions, and it was an honor to share the ring with them. I dreamed about becoming a champion of the world. I wasn't good enough, as I said. I tried my best. That's all a person can do is try their best. I tried my best, but I
Well,
got battered by the best. And
I
if you're
tell
going
you,
to get battered, you might as well get battered by the best.
yes, I tell you like this. All right, you know, if you were because you say you weren't good enough to be, but I go against that because to this present day, you're not respected just by those of your time, but you're respected by the current champions, right? So they
But
still
the thing is, every fighter that climbs into the ring, male or female, has to be tough. You know, you play football, you play golf, you play tennis, you play basketball.
you
You
don't
don't play boxing.
Nope.
It's not a game. And the thing is, you can teach people skills, but you cannot teach them courage. You're born with courage. It's a God-given gift. And every fighter, like I said, that climbs into the ring, male or female, has that gift of courage from God, you know. And it is the most courageous sport in the world. It is only a sport. It's the greatest sport. I'm biased being an ex-fighter, you know, but it is the greatest sport in the world, and it's admired by so many other athletes around the world. All the different athletes admire fighters because that walk to the ring is the hardest walk that a person will have to do in their life. You know, it's daunting to climb into the ring and fight another person. But once the bell rings, your nerves are gone. You know, you just get on with the fight. But I learned how to fight because I had to, because of bullying.
You dealt with bullying early.
Oh my God, I had a horrible time with bullies because being Irish, my dad came over to the UK to work, and we came over to visit him as Irish children. I've got 4 younger sisters and 2 younger brothers. I'm the eldest of 7, and we came over to the UK to visit my dad. And because I had the Irish accent, I got bullied in England, and I got battered in England because I had the Irish accent. So I picked up the English accent to try and mix in. And when I went home to Dublin, I got bullied in Dublin because I had the English accent. And then rather than my 4 younger sisters and my 2 younger brothers getting beaten by the bullies, I used to jump back in and say, don't hit them, please, just keep hitting me. So it got to the stage in my life, Roberto, that I could absorb punishment like a sponge. You know, I became immune to the beatings that I took from the bullies. And then my dad encouraged me and my 2 younger brothers to box, to learn how to stand up and defend myself and defend my brothers and sisters. So when I went to the boxing gym, it really was just to learn how to fight against the bullies. But I enjoyed the sport. I wasn't too bad at it. I wasn't anyway great. I was just okay. I was tough. But I think getting the beatings from the bullies had sort of made me tougher. And like I said, I won 7 Irish titles, which was a major achievement. But once I learned how to fight, I was able to stop the bullying.
Yeah.
And that was a major. And I still campaign now against bullies. I try and help people.
You were also a 2-time Golden Glover, correct?
Yeah, I boxed. I got out to America when I was 17. I boxed on the Irish team. I fought in Atlantic City against the big American, William Dawson. Now, I was big for my age, you know, but I hadn't got that man's strength. And I left school when I was 15. I was on the doors of nightclubs and pretending I was 21. But when I went out, I know. But I was big for my age. But I went out to America on the Irish team, and I got battered in Atlantic City by this big Marine sergeant. But I gave a good account of myself. Floyd Patterson was in attendance.
Nice.
And Paul Fitzgerald, Floyd was married to an Irish lady, so he took a great interest in the Irish boxing team. Okay. And whatever I did to impress him in losing, he said to me afterwards, you know, I hadn't got great skills, but I had great courage, and I could take a beating. And Paul Fitzgerald, the featherweight who won, he got the opportunity to stay on in America, and so did I. Floyd said, would you like to stay on in America? I said, I'd love to. I wouldn't have had the money to come back. Yeah. So through Floyd, I went to Gleason's gym. Nice. And I sparred with a couple of pro heavyweights in Gleason's gym. Al Gavin and Bob Jackson, who'd got the original gym, of course. They looked after me, and they said there's a good heavyweight in the categories. I sparred with Art Tucker, and I can't remember the other heavyweight I sparred with, but I gave a good account of myself. I was only 17. And they said there's a young heavyweight in the Catskills called Mike Tyson. And he's looking for sparring partners. Yeah, I never knew who Mike was. I'd never heard of Mike. Yeah. You know, he was knocking out men left, right, and centre in America, but I didn't know who this guy was. I was just so happy to hear that he was the same age as me. Yeah. You know, because I've been so used to fighting men because I was big for 17. Yeah. So when I got to the Catskills and met Cuss and Camille and Marnie and Jay and Tom, they were so lovely and welcoming. I thought, this is wonderful. And then I met Mike. And Mike was smaller than me. He was younger than me. And he spoke with a bit of a lisp. And I thought, I'm going to batter him. I'll be too big. I know. But he was so nice. We spoke about Ireland and the history of the Irish boxing. Barry McGuigan and his relationship with Mr. Eastwood, who was like the same relationship that Mike had with Cuss, was like a father-son relationship.
Yeah.
And we got on so well. We walked and talked. We watched video footage that night. And I thought, I really like this guy. Oh, I don't really want to batter him, you know. But I felt, I felt confident. I felt so confident because, like I said, I'm several months older than Mike. I was bigger than him. And I felt really confident. So the next day we jogged, felt good. He took off like a gazelle after about half a mile. I know. I thought, yeah, you tire yourself out. I'm going to batter you later on in sparring. And we came back to the house in the Catskills. We had a nice breakfast, then went to bed for a few hours, got ourselves up, getting onto the minibus to go to the gym to spar. Suddenly all these big, powerful men all appeared. But they were walking very somber. They were walking like men going to the gallows. But they knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Stupid Paddy here didn't know what was coming, you know. I thought, well, they're going to box together, and us two boys are going to box together. I'm sitting on a minibus traveling to the gym in the Catskill town above the police station, and I felt good. Mike's sitting there, and they were all sitting there like this. And anyway, got to the gym, we're shadow boxing, warming up. Cuss said, right, bandage up. We bandaged up. He said, glove up, glove up. I'm looking around for Mike. Suddenly he's in the ring, and he's pacing the ring, had his shirt off. And I hadn't seen his physique until then. And I thought to myself, there's no way a 17-year-old boy should look like that. His neck, his shoulders, his traps, his biceps, his back. He just looked phenomenal. And he just looked like the lion in the cage, pacing up and down in the cage in the ring. And I thought, what's going on here? And suddenly Cuss pointed to one of these big men to get in and spar with Mike. And Mike knocked him out with the first shot. And I do tell people, I shit myself. I ruined a good pair of underpants at that moment in time. I thought, there's no way a 17-year-old boy should have that power. Yeah. Anyway, a couple more got in. They were knocked out. I got in. I was number 4. I got battered from pillar to post, hammered.
Wow.
But I stayed on my feet. I stayed on my feet for 3 minutes. I got out. A couple more got in. And I was back in again shortly. And I did 6 minutes with him that day. But it was an honour to share the ring with him. And I stayed on. I stayed on in the Catskills for nearly 2 years.
Nice.
And he made me cry many times. He battered me many times. Very proud to say he didn't put me down.
Yeah.
I stayed on my feet with Lennox Lewis as well. When I fought Lennox, I stayed on my feet with Lennox Lewis.
You went the distance with Lennox.
Well, as an amateur, I won the New York State Golden Gloves. And I boxed in the Empire Games. I got a bronze medal. And it was the New York All-Stars. It was the New York All-Stars against the Canadian All-Stars. Frankie Lyles was the star of the New York team, and Lennox Lewis was the star of the Canadian team. And Lennox had knocked out the American champion in a full international shortly before. And the New York City champion had been beaten in the American championships by the man that Lennox Lewis had knocked out. So they were struggling to get a fighter to fight Lennox. So I said, well, I'll fight him. They said, Joe, you got beat by the man that got knocked out by the man that got knocked out by Lennox Lewis. I said, yeah, but I wasn't knocked out. I said, I'll give a good account of myself. I've been sparring with Mike Tyson. It's psychological warfare, but the fact that I've stayed on my feet with Mike, I can stay on my feet with Lennox. I'm not going to be intimidated. You know, I get scared. We all get scared. It's a human...
It's a feeling. It's a feeling, but it goes away. As soon as you get in that ring, it goes away.
The butterflies are in us all. George Foreman said that himself when he fought Ken Norton. He said, I'm in the center of the ring. I'm eyeballing Ken. Ken's eyeballing me. He said, I'm glad Ken, George said, I'm glad Ken didn't look down because my knees were shaking. This is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. George Foreman saying how scared he was fighting Ken Norton. Yeah. You know, every fighter goes through that emotion. Mike was the same. Mike used to be in the dressing room so scared. You know, but once the bell rings, the fear goes. And there's 2 spellings of the word fear. Mm-hmm. The coward spells it, forget everything and run. The fighter spells it, face everything and rise. And that's what we are. We're fighters. You know, people say that boxers come from the guts. I don't use that terminology. Fighters come from very humble beginnings. Yes, so they're fighting to make a better life for themselves, hoping to make the big time in the boxing so they can improve their life. You know, and I didn't make the big money in the boxing, but I've done well as a result of the boxing.
Yeah, you've established yourself, which is really the basis of what I do. I like to bring for fighters to understand that the importance of establishing life outside of boxing, because you see a lot of guys that they retire and 6 months later they're struggling. They don't have the means to get by. You know, they don't take care of their health. They don't secure their finances. So you got to establish life outside of fighting, and to see a person like yourself, an established author, an actor, right? I mean, you have so many
I've
other
been very
accolades.
blessed. I've been very blessed, Roberto. But when I fought Lennox, like I said, I've spoken about fighting Lennox at stages of my life, and different things have happened as a result of each fight. You know, and sparring with Mike got me ready for a lot of opponents, and the boxing gets you ready for life because there's so many hardships in life, and the
Yeah.
boxing makes you tough and prepares you for different things. Interviews for jobs. If you can walk to the ring and box, you're not going to be faced in an interview.
Nope.
You know, because you've got that courage and you've got that confidence. You know, so the boxing got me ready for so many things. But my best win of my career, I boxed against America again in 1988, and I fought in Atlantic City again, but I'd already been beaten by William Dawson. But now I'm getting ready to fight Bruce Seldon, who went on to win the world heavyweight title.
Yeah, he became the WBA champ afterwards.
Yeah, he'd be a phenomenal fighter. Anyway, after the first round, I got battered. I got hammered in the first round. And I came back to my corner. My cornerman said to me, "We're going to retire you on the stool." I said, no, I can't quit on my stool. I said, I'm not. If the referee stops the fight, that's up to him. But I'm not quitting on my stool. I've took beatings off Lennox Lewis. I've took beatings off Mike Tyson. I've took beatings off a lot of fighters. I can take this. I can withstand this punishment. Anyway, I came out for round 2. And Seldon couldn't believe, after smashing me to bits in round 1, that I was walking out for round 2. And he stood still. The bell rang for the second round, and he stood still. I couldn't get near him at the first round. He was so fast, so flexible movement. He was brilliant. But because he stood still when the bell rang in the second round, I thought I can hit him now because he's standing still. The bell had rang, and I hit him a body shot, Roberto. Best shot to me that I thought I could land on him. I winded him, and that slowed him down, and I got to him in round 2. I went on to win the fight, the best win of my career, because he went on to win the world heavyweight champion.
World champion, that's right. So when you look at that resume, they see your name there.
Oh, it was phenomenal. I was chuffed to bits. I was over the moon. But then when my boxing career finished, I had only had 4 pro fights. I was making a lot of money as a sparring partner, so I travelled as a sparring partner. I was happy to do that because 3 rounds to me was enough to be getting hits, you know. See, there's 6, 8, 10, 12 rounds. It's a long time to be getting hit, especially against powerful punching heavyweight. So I was wearing headgear and body armor a lot of the times when I sparred with Tyson, you know, and I enjoyed the sparring. I made good money in training camp. You couldn't spend it. So when I went professional, I didn't like so much the professional boxing because it was, to me, it was the hardest to earn money in the world.
It's too much. It's too much. And that's another. I'm glad you touched on that. A lot of fighters don't understand that on the pro circuit, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, leading into that ring, getting to the fight alone, the mental toughness that you need just to get to that stage alone. It takes a toll on a fighter. And sometimes a fighter can be distracted by what's going on, not because of the personal life, but just the business side of it alone. If it's not right, sometimes the fighter's not right in the head.
But the thing is, if you're not right in the head, you can't fight because, like I said, it's the hardest sport in the world. It's the hardest to earn money in the world. And you've got to be mentally and physically fit to fight, you know, because fighters before the fight have to be protected. You know, they have to be wrapped in cotton wool, go into training camp, totally blinkered from the outside world for 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, depending on
how many rounds you're going to go and who the opposition is.
And sometimes because of distractions to the fighter, that can affect his performance in the ring on the night. People say, "Oh my God, he didn't look himself tonight. Why? What was it? A bad training camp?" And sometimes personal relationships.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of fighters have to hold down a job in between fights, and sometimes they don't get the time off work. You know, there's one fighter, a British fighter called Terry Marsh. Terry Marsh was a full-time fireman, you know, and he went on to win the world light welterweight title while still working as a full-time fireman. He lived in the fire station. He trained in the fire station. He ate in the fire station, and he went out and fought fires while he was doing his 12-week training camp to prepare for the world title. Now, that to me, to win a world title is a major achievement, but to be able to win it doing that, because he couldn't afford to take 12 weeks off. He wouldn't have got 12 weeks off work.
Yeah.
You know, an average job, you get 4 or 5 weeks holidays a year.
Yeah.
You know, if you're lucky. And he took 12 weeks to prepare as the world champion training camp is, while he was working as a fireman. and still won the version of the world title. So that was a major achievement. But a lot of fighters that get into the ring and fight for titles, if they don't have the mindset, it doesn't matter what sort of preparation that they've had. On the night, it can just all fall apart.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, sometimes a fighter lost the bat. Sometimes you lose the fight before you even make it to the ring.
First bell, before the first bell.
All the greats were able to do that, establish that before that. Like speaking of Mike Tyson, that you know personally and very well, Mike Tyson, for me,
I love Mike.
It was a psychological thing. People were afraid of Mike before they even got in the ring. So
Mike had a powerful intimidation, because of his power. A lot of fighters were beaten before the first bell. Alex Stewart, right? I sparred with Alex. Alex went 9 rounds with Holyfield. Alex was 16-0 and Mike was 16-0. Alex was a Jamaican fighter out of Britain at Boxing Olympics. He was based in Brooklyn and he boxed at Gleason's. Phenomenal fighter. Mike stopped him in the first round. He was 16-0. Alex the Destroyer Stewart, but he froze against Mike. And a lot of fighters that freeze against a puncher like Mike are in trouble. He stopped a lot of his opponents in the first round because they froze. And some of them were able to go further than that. They were better than 1 round with Mike. But because they stood still and got hit, it was over because Mike's power was phenomenal. See, if Mike Tyson missed you with a punch, you'd get pneumonia from the draft. He was phenomenal. When my boxing career finished, I was very fortunate, Roberto. A lot of fighters don't have a safety net to fall on when their fighting career is over. And I didn't know what to do with my life when my boxing career was over, but I was very lucky. I'd made a good friend of mine, Paddy Finn, ex-Irish heavyweight champion. His father had founded my amateur boxing club. We kept in touch. He went into the pub trade in the UK in Birmingham. And when my career was over, I moved to Birmingham 25 years ago and I managed Paddy's pub and I went into the pub trade and had something to do.
You had some troubles with that as well, correct?
Oh, yeah, I got shot.
You got shot, right?
I got shot twice. The 26th of July 1998, I had a pub in Erdington in Birmingham called the Lyndhurst. And it was a lovely pub, big function room, but boxing tournaments on, and had a lot of lovely people frequent the pub. But the racketeers, the gangsters, people think this only happens in movies. This happens in real life.
Yeah.
On the 19th of July 1998, I had the racketeers in Birmingham that had been ruling this particular region of Birmingham for 15 years. They demanded £500 a week protection money out of me. Now, I will bow to royalty out of respect. I won't bow to any man out of fear. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I said no. On the following week, the 26th of July, they attacked me, 37 of them, with guns, hatchets, sketches. And I was very fortunate that there was some good people in the pub having a drink, ex-boxers, friends of mine over the years, that stood with me. And we fought. There was a pitch battle for 25 minutes, which is a long time for a pitch battle. Like I said, boys. And blessings of God, nobody died that day. But they said in the newspapers that the battle at the Lyndhurst that made the Braveheart film look like a Walt Disney movie. It was ferocious, But blessings of God, like I said, nobody died. But
thankfully, you're still here with us, and everyone
still here. Glad to say,
still here with us.
Here, I've been attacked a few times in life, and the Grim Reaper has come for me, but blessings of God, I've been able to fight him off. But
hey, it's his timing is not the one that's on time. It's God's timing. So, clearly God has favor for you, brother.
Well, I'm looking forward to going to heaven. I'm not in any hurry to get there, but I'm looking forward to one day being in heaven. I've still got a lot of living to do here.
Right.
But when Cass Pennant did a dinner, when Joe Frazier did a dinner at the Hilton Hotel in London, I trained with Mike for the Marvis Frazier fight. So I knew Joe Frazier, I knew Marvis, and I got the opportunity to share a top table with Marvis and Joe at the Hilton Hotel in London. And
Joe was another great guy.
One of the greatest.
Amazing guy.
Phenomenal.
Amazing guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Philadelphia at his gym, and amazing guy.
Wonderful, wonderful man. Most fighters are great guys, A lot of the bravado talk before a fight, they've got to sell a fight,
Yeah.
But most fighters are nice people. They use their aggression and their anger in the gym or in the ring. They don't take it out on people outside, I love the sport. I love fighters. And anyway, Cass Pennant was in attendance at the Joe Frazier dinner. And I knew who Cass Pennant was. He was the book publisher. So half joking, half holding earnest, I said, you might write a book about me one day. And he said, well, let me hear what you've got to say tonight. Anyway, I spoke. After the show, I went over and I said, well, what do you think? He said, yeah. He said, you're an interesting character. He said, if we get Mike Tyson involved in the book, I phoned Mike. Mike was in Brazil at the time. And I put him on to Cass. And he said, anything for my brother Joe. Nice. Anyway, Mike did the forward for the book with Tom Patty, Mike's stepbrother. And when the book was released, the man that wrote the book, a man called Randall Graham, wrote the book. It was released in Canary Wharf in 2005. Mike Tyson came over to launch the book, release it at the book signing, and it was one of the best days of my life. Nice. You know, and thousands of people were in attendance. Loads of world boxing champions. I know everybody was there for Mike Tyson, but Mike was there for me.
For you, and that's what matters.
I was so proud. I was so proud. You know, it was an amazing day. Like I say, one of the best days of my life. Other than that, you know, winning the Irish title was another best day of my life. Since then, I've got married
7 times, man.
My life. 7 times.
7 times. Okay, let's not say we won it once. We won it 7 times. Okay.
That was brilliant. Hey, but I've had some great days in my life. Like I said, that was one of them. Winning the Irish title were other ones, and getting married was another day. I've got a beautiful wife. I'm so lucky to have met such a beautiful woman with such bad eyesight. To tell you. You know, I've been with my wife now 22 years, and we've got a good relationship. He supports me in everything that I do. But when Cass Pennant published the book and Mike Tyson launched the book, a lot of wonderful things have happened since then. Cass had a movie made about his life. The movie was called Cass, and he gave me and my wife an opportunity to be in the film. We played the landlord and the landlady of the Britannia pub. And when I was on the film set, I met an actor called Tamer Hassan. He was a big British actor, big star. I knew him. He used to box. He boxed amateur. And he said, Joe, you've got a great presence on screen. He said, do you fancy an acting career? I said, well, I've acted my way through a boxing career. I said, I'll give it a go. I said, I'll give it a go. Anyway, when he introduced me to his agent said to me, she said, there's an audition for a Sherlock Holmes film with Robert Downey Jr.
That's 2008, 2009 film.
Yeah, so they said, I'm there. Can you see me? Can you see me, Roberto?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. They said there's an actor, a character that they want McMurdo to fight Sherlock Holmes. So they said, would you want to go for the part? So I said, yeah. I went down to the audition. The audition casting agent, or the audition people said, look into the camera lens and give an intimidating stare and say this line. So I did that. And they said, wow, you've got an amazing intimidating stare. I said, I've had to look into the eyes of Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis and Bruce Seldon to intimidate them. To intimidate a couple of casting agents is no problem. Anyway, I got the part. I went along to the read-through in Claridge's Hotel in London. My nameplate, Joe Eagan, next to Jude Law, Robert Downey Jr., Rachel McAdams, who went on to win the Academy Award for Southpaw, Eddie Martin sitting opposite Joel Silver, the CEO of Warner Brothers, Guy Ritchie. And Guy said, Joe, I've been trying to get you in one of my films for a long time. I said, you're joking. I'm Robert Downey Jr. Lyndon. This is Iron Man. And he said, Joe, you come with a fearsome reputation. I couldn't believe, Roberto, these people even knew me. Anyway, we travelled down in the minibus to do the practice fight. And Guy said, how are things, Joe? I said, things are okay, Guy. I'm making ends meet. He said, has your agent told you how much you're getting for the fight scene? I said, Guy, I never even asked. I'm just so honoured to be in your film. When he told me, Roberto, how much I was getting for the fight scene, more than I got in any of my pro fights, I was deadly serious. I said, Guy, for that money, I said, Robert Downey Jr. can really hit me. You can kick me as well if you want to. And he took it for the laughing. He said, Joe, I don't want you being beaten up. I said, Guy, I've been beaten up for a lot less. I do a few weeks in hospital for that money. Anyway, I didn't have to do the fight scene. I get into a prison scene that wasn't in the script, and I get called Big Joe by an Academy Award-winning actor in a Warner Brothers movie directed by Guy Ritchie. Oh, my God, I was so proud. My mum is so proud because no mother wants to watch her son being beaten up. She never wanted me to box. But she sees me beaten up and killed in the films all the time, and she loves it because she knows it's not real.
Yeah, it's not
real.
know,
and as a result of the Sherlock Holmes film, the parts are getting bigger now. I've done over 50 movies, and I'm enjoying it. It's a whole new chapter to my life. My boxing made my dad proud, and the acting is making my mum proud, you know. So that's all you want to. That's all you want to do in life, is to make your parents proud, conduct yourself properly, carry yourself properly, and do your parents proud. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. I'm an ambassador for my family. I'm an ambassador for my country, and I just try my best to be the best I can be, you know, and conduct myself.
I gotta correct you there, Joe. You're not trying. You're doing. Okay,
Oh, thank you,
you
very
know how
much.
you're doing, man. I
But the
mean,
parts I get,
you
the
know,
parts are getting bigger now with experience. Most of the parts I get, I play the gangster or the tough guy. You know, I've got that sort of look to play the tough guy, the gangster. And
yeah.
I don't think they're ever going to give me a love scene. You know,
Hey,
but
you never know, man. Hey,
you never know.
you gotta
You
roll the
never know.
eyes. You gotta
Listen,
roll the eyes differently, Joe. That's all. Just
you
roll the
never
eyes
know. It could
differently.
be. Listen, it could be a prison love scene with a cellmate more dangerous than me. You know, but no, I'm enjoying the acting, and like I said, my dream in the acting, I dreamed of being the champion of the world. I never had the ability to do that, but I would love to play a baddie in a Bond movie. You
Nice.
know, I think James Bond is phenomenal. I love the James Bond
Yeah.
films, you
Oh,
know, and to
all of
be
them.
the nemesis of James Bond, like
James
Odd
Bond.
Job or Jaws, Big Joe, you
Yeah.
know, just to be his enemy. I would love that. I wouldn't mind getting killed by him. You
Yeah.
know, if it's Daniel Craig, still, I hope it is. You know that if I ever did get a part in a Bond film, if Daniel
You can
Craig's
get
still
it.
doing it,
Yeah.
you know, they've had their enemies over the years that have been iconic.
Yeah.
You know, and I've watched the last few James Bond films, and the baddies haven't stood out as well as the old baddies.
Yeah.
You know, they're not memorable as the old baddies. And like I said, if they had Liam Neeson
Yeah.
as the enemy of James Bond, Daniel Craig, and me as one of his henchmen,
That'd be
oh my God, that
perfect
would be,
setup.
I'd be perfect. I'd love it. You know, I'd get battered or killed by James Bond. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's only in the movies. Excuse me, it's
Uh-huh.
only in the movies. But I just love the Bond films. There's a series on British TV at the moment. I think it's out in America as well. Peaky Blinders, and it's doing ever so well. And the actors in Peaky Blinders, Cillian Murphy, the Irish actor, and Tom Hardy, the British actor, and it's phenomenal. And that's actually filmed. It's about Birmingham. It's about gangs in Birmingham, and it's filmed in and around Birmingham. I'd love to be in that as well. The writer Stephen Knight has done a phenomenal job. There's a few things that I'd like to do. I'm
But
not, like I said, I'm not
we
the
got
most.
we got a petition to get you on these things because
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
you've got the look, you've got the talent, right? Because it's not just about the looks, or it's also you're able to produce. I actually came across another film, The Freight,
Oh,
that
Freight, good
hey,
film.
hey, great film. Hey, there was a part, and I said to myself, man, I'm glad that I know this Joe and not that Joe, because that Joe is a tough son of a gun. Let me tell you something. That guy, that one line where you say, what is it?
Craig Fairbrass scene.
Yeah, you say, you should my cock, and he
Yeah,
says, I
yeah.
take it up and you suck it yourself. That part in that movie for me, I was like, what the is going on here?
Well, he's a big star in the UK. Craig Fairbrass. He was in. He starred with Stallone in Cliffhanger, but he's a massive star in the UK. He does loads of UK films, UK TV, and it was a privilege and an honour to work with him. You know, because I learned from these guys, and
Yeah,
he's a really nice man. And he in the film, I had to play an Eastern European gangster. The film was on the similar storyline to Eastern Promises with Mortensen. What's that actor? Viggo Mortensen, and that was a massive, big budget film about Eastern European gangsters coming into the UK, racketeering, bringing in women for the sex trade, bringing
yeah,
in drugs, and it was a similar storyline to Eastern Promises, and it was called Freight, but it was set in the north of England rather than in London.
okay,
And I play a henchman to a brilliant actor called Danny Midwinter, who, funny enough, studied in college with Daniel Craig and Gerard Butler, who are massive stars in the UK. Danny's our good friend. But Danny has never left the UK to live in America because he looks after his mother and father in Hatfield in the UK. And he goes over to America to film. But if he was to go to America to base himself there, he would be a massive star. He's a star in the UK,
yeah,
but he was my boss in the film. And he helped me. Craig Fairbrass helped me. Billy Murray helped me, the stars of it. And I learned a good bit from them with the lines because I had to play in Eastern Europe. My accent was hard because I'm not the best with accents. They gave me a voice coach. I only had, I think, 10 or 12 lines in the movie. But to watch these guys, to talk to them with their British accents, and then suddenly they've got Eastern European accents on set, they're phenomenal talent.
yeah,
You know, but the film is a good film. The director, Stuart St. Paul, he done a great job. Not the budget of the Eastern Promises film, but I think he done every bit as good a job. And it's a good film.
yeah.
It's a tragic story of what's
But
happening today.
but because it's a real story,
It's
you
very
know.
real,
That's
very
really
very
real,
real,
and I got
very
that.
real.
I got that essentially just from the trailer clip that I seen. From the trailer, it prompted me to actually watch the film. So I
Well, the
definitely.
film was bought. The film was bought afterwards by Mel Gibson's production company. Um, I can't think of his production company's name, but they launched it in DVD in America, and it went into some of the stores in America to sell on DVD. And it's done well. It's done well as a film. It's helped me get parts because it's on my show reel. Some of the parts that I did in the film are on my show reel, and yeah, I had so much fun, and I've had fun on all the films. But
Yeah.
that film was in particular was good fun. You know, there was a lot of car chases. There was a lot of
Yeah, it's action packed. It's full of
action
action.
packed. Yeah, action packed.
There
There was a
wasn't
scene.
dull moments.
There was a scene. Stuart St. Paul is best known for his stunt work. He's one of the best stunt directors in the business. But this was him directing a film rather than just directing the stunts. But he pulled together some of his friends and colleagues from the film industry that he's worked with over the years, stunt teams, stunt men. And he had one of the best stunt drivers in the world. There's a scene where the car flips, and it's to do a couple of spins and then lands upside down. And then the start of the film was to climb out of the tumbled over car in a gun battle. It's a car chase.
Yeah.
So this stunt driver had to go and hit the ramp, like go up on the ramp and then hit the car. It was phenomenal to watch. Then there was another man set on fire, you know, and he was on fire for it, like brave men, you know. These stunt guys have got a lot of courage, you know, and he, like I said, Stuart St. Paul pulled together a great team of stunt guys that he'd worked with over the years, and to watch these guys work was brilliant. You know, I've recently just finished on a film with Vinnie Jones, and I play Vinnie's henchman. He plays a character called Sean Teague. It's called Vengeance Retaliation. It's out soon, and Vinnie had his stunt double. There was a lot of action in this as well, and I play a character called Gunnar. I play one of Vinnie's henchmen. Some big stars in the film as well. Okay. But it's great fun to watch these stuntmen work, and to be present when they're doing some of these stunts is great. You know, and I'm loving the industry. I said,
it's and that's like I said earlier, and that's the beauty of it. You know, you found life after boxing, right?
Yeah,
you found something.
I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed.
A great living. You know, you're known internationally. Everyone knows you, and you know, not for those that don't know you for your boxing, they know you for your acting, and then when they meet you, then you get to cross and merge, and now they know you for both sides. You know,
well,
and
I pride myself on my manners. I carry myself well, and I'm meeting people. Like I said, I'm still working on the boxing circuit. I do the after dinner speaking. I get to do some of the commentary. I'm on the film circuit, and I get to meet a lot of people. But my manners has carried me, you know, through life. Because people say, Joe, you've got such a tough guy reputation, but then we meet you and you're so mannerly. I said, well, I pride myself on being mannerly more than I pride myself on being a tough guy.
Yeah.
Manners make it the man.
Previous to, you know, us being live, you know, we got on the phone, and for the first time we spoke, and we spoke for about an hour and change, like as if I've known you my whole life, you know. And
but that's the great thing.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I want to take time to thank Mark Owens for that, because you know he's a middle piece. He connected us. You know, Mark is a great guy as well, and you know I'm grateful for being able to connect with you, because you know your story for me. The more I dig deep into it, the more I become in love with it, because it's really it's the underdog story, right?
It is the underdog story. You know, I've had a hard life. You know, I've had a good life.
You went from the underdog to the big dog.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm on the bottom rung of the ladder, but I'm moving in the right direction.
There, brother. Yeah, hey,
I'm climbing in the right direction. I'm glad to say.
I tell you, you know, to see today's current champions and stars, you know, to embrace you the way they do, the Anthony Joshuas of the world, the Tyson Furies of the world, when they embrace you, that speaks to the magnitude of your personality. How much
I'm proud to say they're both my friends. You know, I'm friends with Anthony Joshua, and I'm friends with Tyson Fury. I've met Deontay Wilder as well. Nice guy. I spoke to him. I spoke to him at length. You know, he's fighting. He's a man on a crusade. His daughter has spina bifida, and he's fighting. You know, we are very lucky in the UK with the NHS. You know, we have free medical care in the UK.
Yeah.
A lot of that in America is, and you don't have that luxury.
No,
you know,
you
and
don't.
if you don't have money, sometimes your treatments don't go on.
Yep.
You know, and it's sad really, because I think everybody's entitled to medical care, and the world we live in, it should be there for everybody. So Deontay fights like a man on a crusade, because he fights to secure his daughters
Yep.
for the future, you know, and I admire that. I take my hat off to the man. You know, I'm very proud to say that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury are good friends of mine. I know both of them a number of years. I admire and respect them, because they're both good ambassadors for the sport. And boxing doesn't just need great fighters. Nope. It also needs great ambassadors.
Yeah.
They're going to fight soon. I believe Deontay has stepped aside as the mandatory defense for Tyson Fury after the victory for Tyson Fury. You know, so he stepped aside. So the two of them are going to fight, Joshua and Fury, to get the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. There's only one undisputed champion on the planet at the moment, and that's Katie Taylor, the Irish girl. Because when Usyk stepped up to cruiserweight, he gave up all his belts, and he was the undisputed champion. So the only other undisputed champion at this moment in time is Katie Taylor, the Irish girl. What a phenomenal fighter! I know Katie. I know her daddy Peter. I used to train with Peter, and she's a wonderful girl. Lives and trains in America. And I think she lives in Connecticut, but I don't know where her training camps are. At this moment in time, it's in her house because of lockdown. Yeah. So she's getting ready to have a massive fight. Should have been on, but because of what's happening, it's been postponed. But she is the only undisputed. And I never thought, and I'm not proud to say this, I never thought women's boxing was going to take off. I went to a show to watch in Birmingham, to watch 3 fights. Bobby Van's the European champion, Rob Norton, the world champion, and a local derby between Mark Ramsey and Spencer McCracken, which should have been a phenomenal 3 fights. Yeah. They weren't that great, to tell you the truth. No, they were good, but they weren't great. So now I'm with my 2 friends, Warren Wigan and Steve Pettit, and now there's a woman coming on to fight called Jane Couch. Yeah. And I went, oh, I'm not staying for watching this. And as I'm walking out, she was fighting a Dutch girl or a German girl. Anyway, the touch gloves, the bell rang, and blocked on to the center of the ring. He had 10 rounds of warfare. And I sat down when they started punching each other. I said to Warren and Steve, this was look bad. Anyway, after the fight, I went over to Jane Couch and I said, phenomenal victory after a fantastic fight. I wasn't a fan of women's boxing, but now I am.
Now I am.
The suffragettes did what they did in the World War for women's rights. Men and women died in the World War, so we have equal rights and we're able to do what we want to. We live in a so-called free world, so people should be allowed to do what they want to do. And if women want to fight, let them fight. And I said to Jane, not only now am I a fan of women's boxing, I'm now a fan of yours. And we became great friends. And in the 2012 Olympics, the British boxer Nicola Adams became the first ever female gold medalist boxer. Nice. First ever woman to win a gold medal at boxing. And her smile, she lit up the room because she smiled because she got the gold medal, major achievement, but she's set president now, the first woman ever to win a world title. You know, fantastic.
That'll never go away.
No, it'll never go away. That's something they can never take from her. She was the first woman ever. Anyway, there's been some great women fights since. There's been Muhammad Ali's daughter, Layla Ali, phenomenal champion. Joe Fraser's daughter, Jackie Fraser Hyde. You know, what phenomenal boxers. Yeah. And now the Irish girl, Katie Taylor. What a fighter. You know, an action-packed athlete. And it's women's boxing is going from strength to strength. But you know something? At the time when it started, I never really thought it was going to take off because I thought when women go to the scales and they step onto the scales, they're not going to believe that's not my weight. I don't weigh that. Because women are always worried about their weight. So I thought, no, this is going to take off. But it has. It's gone from strength to strength.
They've owned it. You know, they've owned it. You know, they've created their own lane. And a lot of times, you know, there seems to be a different kind of energy for women fighting now than when you go to see men fighting now. You know, their audience is now merging and it's actually creating a bigger platform for boxing as a whole because, you know, now you got, you know, more women watching than in the past. So it's actually...
It's only good for the sport. It's good for the sport. And some of these women are supreme athletes and, you know, they train hard. Because it's such a disciplined sport, and some of these women are mothers as well. You know, so not only are they you know fighting, being a parent is a
Yeah.
hard job as well. I've got no children, but I've got nephews and nieces, and being a
I
parent is a hard job.
I had the pleasure of experiencing women boxing when I was coming up. There's a young lady by the name of Nisa Rodriguez. She's out of Bronx, New York. She was a young mother at the time. She's the only I think 7 or 8 time New York Golden Gloves winner. She's a multiple nationals champ, and she recently won gold in the Pan American Games. And I'm not sure where her career is going now, but she's recognized by just about everyone in the industry for being, you know, an elite woman boxer. I would love to see her turn that corner and go professional, but I don't know what she's got going on now with boxing. But I know back then, I mean, I think just like 2 years ago is when she won her medal, or just last year she won her gold medal in the Pan American Games. So, I mean, women's boxing, it's taking time. It's taking longer than most would have liked, but it's definitely established now. You got great champions like Clarissa Shields, that she's taking the world by storm. She's calling out Layla Ali now and things of that nature. So, you know, we definitely have a lot of women fighters that can contribute to the sport.
Well, women, you know, do so much in other sports, you know. So they're doing ever so well in boxing as well. And women are flying planes.
Yeah.
They're not just at home taking care of the children or cooking. Women are giving so much to the world. Like I said, there's got women plumbers, women electricians, women doctors,
truck
women
drivers,
truck drivers.
You name it, they got it. Yep. You froze up there, Joe. There you go.
Back, I lost you there for a second.
There you go.
Yeah, so I like I said, I've got 4 sisters, and you know, I've got 4 sisters, and like I've grown up, we've all got mothers, and if women want to do what they want to do, who are we to say that they can't?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and, you know, women. I mean, you know, women are the foundation at the end of the day. You know, without women, we can't reproduce, and that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
And so it's selfish that we would want to put them in a certain category and leave them there when they contribute to so much more in life.
They do. We've got equality with women, you know, and I think that's wonderful. You know, I'm on that film I just done recently, the one with Vinnie Jones.
Something in the works, or can we get a title? What's the title?
It's Vengeance Retaliation. It's a second one. The first one went well in America. There's the WWF superstar Wade Barrett. He's in the film. He is the star of the movie. And they're making part 2. This is part 2. But there's 2 or 3 women stunt fighters, stunt women in the film. Brilliant. You know, action-packed. It's going to be a good movie. The first one done ever so well. And the second one, I've just looked at the trailer, you know, and I got sent the trailer the other day, and it looks great.
Nice.
You know, I've got a couple of other films coming out now as well. There's a King Arthur film.
I seen you put that up. That looks like it's going to be interesting as well.
Yeah, it was good fun. I did a fight scene with the star of the movie, who plays King Arthur, and I play a French knight. And the star of the film is a British actor, but he lives in Los Angeles, and he's been out in America now 15 years. Brilliant talent. Absolutely. He was in Public Enemies with Johnny Depp.
How was the armor? Is it actually heavy, or is it more modernized and it's not as heavy?
Oh no, it just looks heavy. It's not heavy.
Okay, yeah, because I seen it. I was like, man, that stuff looks like it's hard to move around with.
No. It's only plastic, but it looks good.
It looks great.
It looks good. It does look good. It does look good. You know, no, there's no. I tell you what, there must have been some men in the day, you know, them warriors, to wear them suits of armor and swing them big swords. Yeah, you know, they must be like
30, 40, 50-pound swords, man.
Do you know what I'd love to do? I'd love to do a cowboy film as well. I haven't done a cowboy film yet. I'd love to do a cowboy. I'd love to do a cowboy film, but I've held a couple of them replica Colt 45s, and the heavy guns. The heavy guns. Imagine the guns thing. I've been able to take them out of the holster that quick.
Take it out.
Fire. Yeah, you know. But I love the cowboy films. John Wayne. I love John Wayne.
Yeah,
you know,
legendary John Wayne.
Oh, phenomenal! And the Magnificent Seven was a fantastic film.
Yeah, my favorite all time was Tombstone. I'm not sure if you've seen Tombstone.
Great film with Kevin Costner.
My favorite. Yeah,
is that the one with Kevin Costner?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic film.
Yeah, that's my favorite all time. Yeah.
Brilliant film. But what was the family? It was who was what was the family? There was Doc Holliday was in it.
Doc Holliday,
yeah.
Doc
What was the
Holliday,
family? Who was the family?
uh,
The Earps. The
Earp,
Earp family.
it was
White
Earp.
Earp.
Yeah,
White
yep,
Earp.
yep.
Yeah. But I love the cowboy films. But I did a movie called The Magnificent 11, which was a remake of the cowboy film, The Magnificent Seven. But it wasn't a cowboy. It was a comedy with 11 football players making the stance against the gangsters. Because Robert Vaughn at the time was the only surviving member of the original Magnificent Seven cast. And they did this comedy film written by Irwin Welsh, who wrote Trainspotting. And I played Robert Vaughn, who was the star of the film. I played his henchman.
Okay.
And I had so much fun. He's dead now since, tragically, God rest him. He was the last surviving member of the Magnificent Seven. One of my favourite films. You know, people ask me, can you name the Magnificent Seven? I said, of course I can. I said, it was Yul Brynner, Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, Robert Vaughn, James Coburn, Horseshoe Colts, and the one everyone gets mixed up on, Brad Dexter.
Right there.
You know, he kept saying to Chris, who was Yul Brynner, tell me there's gold, Chris. You know, and there wasn't. They were going to fight these gang of Mexicans for pennies. You know,
Yeah.
But I loved the cowboy films. I loved them, and I hope to do a cowboy film one day.
Well, we got to get you a strong horse.
Do you know something? I could be the first. Listen, the size of me, I could be the first cowboy riding an elephant in the West. Galloping across the prairie on an elephant, you know, because of the size of me. I said to my dad one day, I said, Dad, I said, I'm doing these movies, I said, and I'm so happy. I said, I'm walking on air. He said, the size of you, he said, it won't reinforce concrete to carry you. You know, I'm a big man. You know,
Yeah.
But it was just funny, my dad saying that, you know.
No, it's hey man, you know what, man, they can make it work for you, man. It's really a pleasure to have you.
Oh, Roberto, it's been great because I travel down memory lane. You know, want to talk about
yeah,
my life.
yeah, it's great, and it's great to relive it. So it's also great for other up and coming fighters and just people people that are enthusiastic about being actors or people that would like to put out a book, to experience and see that that these possibilities are available to all as long as you continue to move forward. Because after your second fight, you had an accident that
I had a bad car crash.
Essentially told you couldn't fight anymore, and then at the age of 38 you find yourself back in the ring. So it's about not giving up on yourself. Life has punched you.
Come back at 38 money. I've been 12 years out of the ring, and I'm 54 now, going on 55, and
yeah,
I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I keep myself healthy as best I can. But when I made the comeback after 12 years out of the ring, there was a big write-up in the boxing news, and it said George Foreman made the comeback after 10 years. Big Joe Eagan made the comeback after 12 years. They get mentioned in the same paragraph as George Foreman. Oh, my God. It was so amazing. Amazing. I'm not worthy to be mentioned.
Hey, Joe, I don't know if you know it. I don't know if anyone's told you, but you're a living legend, man. You are.
Comeback. It's funny because I forgot what the fear was like walking to the ring. 12 years out of the ring, I forgot what the fear was like. And I'd boxed at the same venue. I boxed at the same venue as an amateur. And I'm in the dressing room. I'm bandaging up. I'm nice and relaxed. I'm calm. I'm getting ready to fight. The doctors come in, examine me. The officials come in, examine my bandages, my hands, make sure that my hands are bandaged properly. They say, glove up. Then the fear kicked in and said to me, make your way to the ring.
That stomach turn, that quick rump, that quick butterfly effect.
Horrible,
yeah.
Horrible. I walked to the ring. It was on Irish television, the fight. I was in Dublin, and I walked to the ring, and I walked past the steps, and I walked right past the ring. And there was a couple of old geezers sitting, and they tapped me, and they went, Joe, you've missed the steps. And I went, oh, yeah. And I turned around, and if they hadn't tapped me, I'd have walked right out of the building. My mother only lived 10 minutes from the place. I'd have been at home, knocking on my mum's front door, let me in. I didn't want to, because I forgot what the fear was like,
Yeah.
12 years out of the ring was a long time. And I came back, and I won my comeback fight after 12 years out of the ring, and I retired. I retired after that because what happened was I was getting ready to box again, and I was going to go out to America to fight. Mike was fighting. I'd contacted Mike. I said, look, I'm not good to spar with you anymore. I'm past my sell-by date. But if you could get me on the undercard, I've had a comeback fight, and I felt okay. I did all right. I've won. And Mike said, Joe, anything you need, brother. I said, no, I just want to get on your undercard. That's all I want to do. Make a few pounds on your undercard. And that's what I was going to do. I said to him, I didn't want to fight anybody with too much ambition. Somebody my age, somebody that had passed their sell-by date as well. Because boxing's a young man's sport. You know, you get the exception to the rule. George Foreman at 50 winning the title, Bernard Hopkins. You know, these guys are an exception to the rule. I wasn't an exception to the rule at 38. And I didn't want to be fighting anybody too hard. You know,
you were honest. You were honest with
I didn't want to be a punch bag for somebody young. To have to earn the money harder than it was already going to be earned. Yeah. So I was preparing to go to America to box on Mike's undercard, and I was sparring with a man that I'd sparred with many, many times. One of my best friends, Steve Dawson, from a boy to a man. We trained together and sparred together. And I was at his house in Dublin, and we're walking out his front door, and his little boy Tristan said, "Where are you going today, Big Joe?" I said, "I'm going to box with your daddy today, Tristan." He goes, "Who's the toughest? You or me, daddy?" I went, "Yeah, daddy's the toughest man on the planet." Like in every boy's eyes. Yeah. He's the toughest man on the planet. I said, "Tristan, your daddy's the toughest man on the planet." Anyway, we went to spar, got into the ring like I'd sparred many, many times before, and I slipped, and he caught me a shot, and it split my eye. I had the headgear on, but it split my eye wide open, and I felt the blood running down my face. It wasn't even a great punch. I just rolled into it wrong. And he ripped me open, and I knew when I felt the blood running down my face, I thought, it's over. I'm almost 39 years of age at the time. Yeah. I said, it's over, you know. And I went to the hospital. I got the stitches in my eye. We went back to Steve's house. And his little boy was looking. My face was bruised and swollen with stitches. And he said, "What happened, Big Joe?" I said, "Oh, yeah, Daddy cut me when we were sparring." And he goes, "You said he was the toughest man on the planet." So I thought, the injury, you know. So I knew then it was over. I retired. But very proud to say, Roberto, I retired my last fight on a win, you know, and I loved the sport then. I love it now. I loved it from the beginning when I started.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful thing because not many fighters get to, you know, walk out on a high note that way. Not many guys get to experience the experiences that you've had, you know. So, you know, again, man, it's just great to be able to have you share your story and your experiences with us because how else would we get these experiences?
Well, the thing is, it's very humbling to think that anybody wants to listen to my story. You know, it's a privilege to tell it. It's humbling that people want to listen. I know I've shared the ring with the great world champions, and people want to hear about them. So, for anybody who wants to listen to me, I'm able to talk. They say I can.
And you know what? And that's a beautiful thing, right? Because that's another thing. A lot of fighters, when they leave boxing, they don't have that gift anymore. They walk away with permanent injuries, and there's nothing in place to help them recoup from that, right? To help them get through life after that.
Tragedy in boxing, the same as there's tragedy in motor racing, the same as there's tragedy in American football, in British rugby, world rugby. There's tragedies in any contact sport. There's tragedy. It's sad, but it happens. It's not the a fighter to maim or to kill his opponent. The object is to win your fight. What fair means, you know, it's the art of self-defense, and if it's done properly, boxing is poetry in motion, like Muhammad Ali said. You know, and if a fighter can retire from his career with his faculties, his brain intact, and to be happy that he's given it his best, and he's got out of the sport, and he's achieved whatever success he's achieved, but he's happy that he competed. You know, because the song, I can't think of the name of the song. Stand up and fight until we hear the bell. Stand up and fight, fight like hell. And that's what a fighter wants to do. He wants to be there at the final bell. Yeah. You know, say that he gave it his best. He was beaten by the better man or woman on the nights, but he gave it his best. Because that's all we can do is try our best.
Give it our best. That's right.
Give it our best, you know.
If you don't, you only cheat yourself. Hey, Joe, we got 60 seconds before Instagram kicks us off. So again, I want to say thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your story. Let the people know where they can reach you at. I got you pinned at the bottom at Big Joe Eagan, but any films you have, any new books? I know we have a book out right now from 15 years ago, correct? It's been about 15 years.
2005, yeah, 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
But listen, before we go off air, please, everyone that's watching, stay safe and stay healthy, and God bless you all. You know, it's tragic times at the moment with this pandemic, but please be safe, be healthy, and be blessed. You
That's what
know,
we can do, right? And keep on fighting. Another day. Keep on punching and keep on
keep
fighting.
fighting,
It's
keep
been a
fighting.
pleasure, Joe. Thank you for your time.
Thank
We'll
you
be
for
in
putting
touch. And yeah, man, I look forward to just continue this relationship with you, brother.
for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.